Well, Ryan, one of the things that leads to resilience that we've been talking about is flexibility. How do you think that supply chains will become kind of more flexible in general, regardless of the things that we just talked about, wars or pandemics or port shutdowns, things outside of our control?
Yeah, well, I think it's about giving people more options. There's no one of the
Yeah.
things that's so fascinating about Flexport is that we serve such a huge range of industries, and
Hmm.
there's definitely no one size fits all solutions. And frankly, value props. Like if I have like 12 different value props that Flexport could deliver for you, but unlikely we deliver all 12. We can be either the cheapest or the fastest, but not both.
Yeah.
Or you can have green options. You can have more
Right.
flexible routing. You can have there's a lot of different things that you can do. It could be the most customer centric or the most automated. And these might be the same thing, or they might actually be opposed. And so I think the flexibility is to understand what your customer needs. I don't believe that you get rid of people for this reason, because I think people are really good at building the relationship to get the trust from the customer, to understand what are the problems that that specific company has, and how do you make supply chain tech like Flexport's an enabler and not a blocker like we've had for the last 5 years since COVID.
Sure.
And even before that with the tariffs that were hitting, constant changes in regs. So having great people are much more flexible than tech. In general, this is the reason that iPhone is still made by hand instead of by robots, because if they change the design within an hour, they can retrain all the people. At tech, you'd have to retool every machine, and it takes a long time. So people are really key for flexibility. But tech is really good for cost, for automation, for removing manual work that people aren't that good at. So that's how we see the two, is like tech can really help a lot, but you've got to have people that know how to use the tech, know how to configure it, know how to adapt it to the customer's needs. Very specifically, we want to have the best database in the world of all of the sailing schedules for every ship. When are they going to arrive? When are they going to depart? Every single port in the journey. Really understand the full transit time so you can be more predictable. But then that allows you to be flexible, because you can say, actually, this other ship will get you there at the same time for lower cost or lower carbon emissions or some other target that you may have. You can create more options about, oh, actually the carrier that you signed your contract with can't hit your target date. This other one can, or I need to divert this and move air freight because these SKUs really matter and these other ones, we'll leave them behind and go on the slower boat. So getting the people the flexibility within their supply chain to be very adaptable. There's a million ways that you can do it.
How do you think that flexibility is changing the like Flexport's flexibility is changing the supply chain industry in general, Ryan? Because it seems like, you're giving retailers so much more visibility into what's going on and the ability to kind of make decisions in real time that they haven't probably been able to do before when they have these contracts in place with carriers. I mean, what do you think Flexport's impact has been?
Yes, it is that. I mean, I think that is where the flex and Flexport comes from. It's either that or flex your muscles, whatever sounds better.
Whatever you're feeling today.
Whatever you're feeling today. Yeah.
And yeah, we give people more options. I think a lot of times there's this impression that we're this tech company. We have 400 software engineers building the technology. It gets better every day, mostly better every day. Sometimes we make it worse for a day or two and have to get it and fix it. But gets
More
better.
truth.
We're constantly updating
Yeah,
things.
completely candid.
We're constantly making improvements to the technology, but it doesn't replace the people, as I said before. And people want to have someone you can pick up the phone and solve a problem. And that's a big part of our org structure and business model, is that each client gets a set of team members that are actually doing the operations on their behalf, and they talk directly to the operators, solve problems, configure things, create the flexibility that the customer needs. And that could be a million little tactical details, like how do you schedule appointments at this warehouse, or pass the ASN advanced ship notice, which has the inventory of what's inbound to the warehouse. Do you want that? When do you want the warehouse to receive that? People care about this for some reason. They want it to, a week before, 2 weeks before. I mean, there's a million ways that you could configure this. Or when it comes to signing carrier contracts, so larger, once you ship about 5,000 containers a year, you're going to generally get better economics as if you sign directly with an ocean carrier.
Okay.
rather than buying your freight through a forwarder like Flexport.
Okay.
But you still need someone to actually place those bookings. So when the goods are ready, place a booking to which sailing does it go on of that carrier, and giving them optionality, being able to show them, okay, here are the choices, and run that program for them. And then you'll want to sign 2 or 3 contracts at least, sort of load balance your contracts, then becomes an important problem. And so giving people data to know, okay, you don't want to ship everything on the one and then find out, oops, I didn't honor this other contract. And so allowing them to see in a given week, which, how much allocation do they have on which contracts, and then make sure that they can do their part in fulfilling those contracts and getting accurate data about the performance of the carriers. Did they honor the contract? Did they rolling the cargo is what we call getting bumped. If getting bumped in a passenger context on an airline. So if your cargo doesn't get loaded, you signed a contract, you want to be able to present that data to the carriers the next time you're going to sign contracts and going, hey, here's your performance.
Yeah.
That data is largely not out there. And so getting people, putting this into people's hands so they can make better decisions is a big part of it.
Like I want my free